At one of those Origin of Life research conferences, a scientist came to the discussion microphone and said, okay, we're at the end of our week together. And what we did during the first day, we eliminated Earth as a possible site for the origin of life, again, from a non-theistic perspective. And then the second day, we eliminated Mars. And then the third day, we eliminated all other solar system bodies. And then the fourth day, we eliminated another planetary system, bringing life here to planet Earth. He says the only thing remaining is that there must have been aliens from a distant planetary system that traveled here in spaceships and put life here on planet Earth, and they must have come back several times to explain the Avalon explosion, the Cambrian explosion, and eventually introduction of human beings, because there's multiple places where we need intelligent input. And I remember Fuzz and I, we were sitting in the second row and said, this man, he's getting close to the right answer. It really is an intelligent alien, but not from another planetary system. And one of the organizers of the conference was right in front of us, and he turned around and says, I know exactly what you guys are talking about. So
that is really
also
funny.
Gave us an opportunity to engage these scientists.
Can you unpack some of the specifics that were being described that led that presenter to say that there needed to be an alien from a galaxy far, far, far away to make that interjection into the science that we're looking at?
Well, for example, it all goes back to that high school thing about, the flask of Stanley Miller, where they put certain chemicals inside a flask, put a spark through it, and they got some amino acids. Amino acids are the building blocks of proteins. So they're saying, hey, maybe we get all the amino acids we need. Well, that Miller experiment was done decades ago. What we've now discovered is, yes, we have found 10 of those 20 bioactive amino acids and in meteorites, in asteroids, but we find them at very low abundance levels. And moreover, what we're finding is predominantly the simplest ones. Glycine, for example, made up 98% of the amino acids that Stanley Miller found. And we can't find the complex ones, not been found anywhere. And moreover, we're finding the more complex ones that we have found at parts per billion, parts per trillion. And that abundance level is way too low to sustain a naturalistic origin of life. So the fact that some of the building blocks are missing is a big problem. The other big problem is you can take the known bioactive amino acids, just take them from different organisms, then try to put them together. And they've performed some amazing laboratory experiments where they're able to put up to 40 of these amino acids together to make, a short protein. Well, you can't really call it a protein because it's just only 40 components. But what they discover is if you try to go above 40, you can't pull the amino acids off the glazed substrate that's necessary to get them together. And to have life, you need proteins with 10,000 plus amino acids in them. So there's that barrier that they're discovering. But there's articles been published in the scientific literature saying, we origin of life researchers, we've done some amazing things in the lab. But notice, it takes a lot of technology, a lot of funding, and very brilliant and knowledgeable biochemists to get these extremely limited results that really don't get us very far in solving the origin of life problem. And so one of them, an atheist, made the point, we're committing the God dilemma. In other words, we're basically taking the place of God. An intelligent agent is working here under highly sophisticated conditions, making sure we're only looking at constructive chemical pathways, not destructive ones. We're committing the hand of God dilemma. And he actually wrote in the British journal Nature, we origin of life research chemists need to tell people in our research papers how many times we commit the hand of God dilemma to get the limited results we do. I've read those papers. It's always over 12 times. So it's like someone much more intelligent, better funded, with better technology than our best biochemists must be responsible for the origin of life.
Yeah, I think that that's super interesting for a number of reasons. One is that apparently an intelligent agent playing a role in the process of the formation of life is a legal move when it's a scientist, but is an illegal move if it's a different intelligent agent doing it. I just find that to be in and of itself interesting, and it kind of ties into the panspermia that you were talking about a second ago, where if it's aliens bringing life to this planet at different points, then that's a legal move. That's scientific. That's okay. But intelligent design as a hypothesis is, I'm told, according to Wikipedia, a pseudo-scientific theory. And I just find that to be really interesting, where it's like there's this one sort of like illegal move, which is appealing to the ultimate intelligent agent. But any other intelligent agent involvement in the formation of life is considered acceptable.
I would expect that bias. I mean, we're told in the Bible that we're born in rebellion against our Creator. And therefore, it would be typical that you would say anything but that option. And so they're looking at the anything but. But as the evidence accumulates, it basically forces you to retreat to a smaller and smaller speculative space. I mean, I even see that in the space-time theorems, where physicists have been saying, well, these theorems hold all the way back to 10 to the minus 43 seconds after the cosmic creation event. Perhaps they don't hold earlier than that.
You guys know that I'm always trying to understand issues from different sides, not just my own. And so for that reason, I like a tool called Ground News. Here's how it works. Decline of Christianity in the U.S. has slowed and may have leveled off, Pew study says. And if we check this out, you can see total news sources, 95, left-leaning 26, right-leaning 24, center 20. So this is actually very centrist. You can see the bias distribution. You can actually look up the specific sources where they came from, where they fall kind of on the spectrum. And then you can scroll down here and compare headlines as well. Is Christianity making a comeback? Catholics are rapidly losing ground. Christianity makes a comeback. It's a really great way to just quickly assess narratives across the spectrum. Also, Ground News is running a really great deal right now, a discount. Go to ground.news/DDW to get 40% off their Vantage plan. That's the one that I use. Or you could just scan this code right here to unlock that very same deal. It's Ground News, folks. Now back to the video.
But now we have astronomical observations where we see the energy level at 10 to the minus 43 seconds. In fact, we've exceeded that by a factor of 8 times. It tells us that the atheistic attempts to get around the space-time theorems do not work. So what's happened? They've been retreating. Now, I would argue as a scientist, in order to defend your hypothesis, if you're on continual retreat as scientific discoveries are being made, that's a strong indication you got the wrong model. On the other hand, if future scientific discoveries are making a stronger case for your hypothesis, that's a suggestion you're on the right track to truth. And that's how I'm arguing science should work. But I think we also need to acknowledge the biases are real, but they need to be acknowledged.
It reminds me of the old search for the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. And the closer that you get to the rainbow, it seems to keep recessing and equidistant into the foreground in front of you. Which, yeah, I think your point is a good one there. Maybe you're going in the wrong direction. Maybe you need to reconsider the a priori there. So that's super interesting. I feel like a lot of what is, and maybe this is an obvious observation, but a lot of what is at play here seems to just be, speaking of a priori, like the more worldview basis that informs the critical analysis of the data. And I think in a lot of people's mind, like there just isn't anything other than matter as a brute fact, and so you can't even consider that type of a thing because the second you've done so, you've left rationality, logic, science, etc.
Well, there are journals that we're now publishing in that don't take that narrow of a perspective.
Okay.
And what I love about those journals, they say, okay, your reviewers can be anonymous, but their critique of your paper has to be public. and they actually give us the privilege of responding to the criticisms and allow for as much as 3 back and forths to go by. I mean, one paper I submitted, the reviewers were atheist astrophysicists. They want the paper to be rejected because I made too strong of a link between the science and the God of the Bible. But they had to make public their criticism. I responded to their criticism. And eventually they said, okay, we're going to let this paper be published. But you can read the paper free online. You can read the critiques online. I love that because you actually get to see an exchange between Christian research scientists and those who are not, and just see how that dialogue works out. And so we're busy at Reasons to Believe publishing additional journal articles like that. So not all journals say you can't talk about God. Some of them actually allow you to do that.
What was the name of that article?
It was called Black Holes as Evidence for God's Care. You can put that into a search engine or just put Black Holes Hugh Ross. It'll probably pop up, and you can read the article. What was really fun is to read the exchange between me and the reviewers. And that's all available for free.
To help tease that a little bit more, do you mind sharing kind of what the hypothesis was of that article, or kind of just a brief sort of a teaser trailer overview?
Well, I was arguing that black holes indeed are dangerous. They pour out very deadly radiation. But we happen to be living in a galaxy that has a quiescent black hole at its core that's 40 times smaller than what you'd expect for a galaxy our size. So I was basically suggesting it's been designed that way to make advanced life possible within the galaxies. Likewise, the black holes and the surrounding galaxies around us. They're all smaller than they should be and a lot more quiet than they should be. But also argued that we need black holes. About a quarter of the elements in the periodic table are only manufactured when neutron stars that are orbiting one another, their orbit collapses and they merge and they become a black hole. At the point where the 2 neutron stars merge together to become a black hole, you get the very efficient production of what are called rapid process elements. And that's about a quarter of the elements in the periodic table, including 3 elements that I list as vital poisons. Too much in your body will kill you. Too little in your body will also kill you. Basically making the point that the distribution of black holes and the rate at which they're being produced in our Milky Way galaxy must be fine-tuned to make the existence of life and human beings possible here on planet Earth. So last time I checked, there was about 22,000 views of that article, which is a very large number for a peer-reviewed scientific article.
If you like these kind of videos but aren't subscribed, help us reach that 1 million milestone. It also helps other people see this type of content in the future. I'll leave a link in the description where you can watch a documentary that I made. It's got Nabil Qureshi, Lee Strobel, William Lane Craig, and a bunch of other people in there that answer a lot of the questions that I've had about God over the years. I think you'll really like it, and it's totally free.